television family.
So I don't know how Kody feels about any of it at all.
It started as a whisper, small, breathy, and so faint it barely registered against the backdrop of the Browns' already crumbling legacy. Hidden recordings slipped into entire sister wives' empire. At first, it was just background noise, static, anonymous. But the voice that pierced through the haze was unmistakable. Robyn Brown, her tone was hushed, careful, but urgent, as if speaking in secrecy within her own fortress. It's just 820K Kody doesn't need to know the exact amount. If it's filed under family expenses, nobody will question it. That one phrase, that one clipped sentence sliced through years of constructed innocence. And when Janelle first heard the recording sitting in her modest Arizona rental with her son Gabe, nearby something inside her collapsed. The weight of truth landed on her chest like a steel beam. Gabe scanned the banking folders, stunned. "Mom, this is stealing." That's when everything cracked wide open. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't miscommunication. This was betrayal at its most calculated level. Robyn had quietly, systematically funneled over $820,000 from the shared Brown family trust into accounts that bore only her name. No joint ownership. No shared planning. Just her. The woman once seen as the peacemaker, the victim. The gentle soul, the last wife, had been quietly constructing her own kingdom behind closed doors. Using signatures that weren't hers, and funds that didn't belong to her, and that tape. It hadn't been leaked by a bitter family member or angry ex. No, it came from someone on the production team close to the Browns and insider, who, after years of watching the emotional manipulation and gaslighting, decided they couldn't be part of the illusion anymore. That person chose to leak the recording, exclusively through our Plural path, triggering one of the most shocking revelations in the family's televised history. Janelle didn't call Christine first. She called Meri. That alone was a statement. For years, the dynamic between the three women had been strained, often pitted against each other under the careful orchestration of Kody's favoritism and Robyn's emotional fragility. But not this time. She stole the CP money, Janelle said. Over the phone, her voice a mix of fury and disbelief. More than $800,000. She used Kody's electronic signature Weiss. Meri sat frozen at her Utah B&B. She forged it, she asked, already knowing the answer. Janelle confirmed. She told him it was standard budgeting while funneling everything into her own control. Christine joined the call, her face appearing on the screen with a grim expression. "She always had a plan," Christine said flatly. "We were pawns. She just moved us off the board. But this time, the game was over." When filming resumed in Flagstaff, Robyn walked onto set with her usual, overly practiced composure. Kody, still unaware of what was coming, complained about the lighting. That's when the Our Plural Path team tapped play on the now infamous audio. "We just want your response to this recording," the lead producer said calmly. The room went dead silent, and there it was, Robyn's voice again. "Kody doesn't need to know." She went pale, completely white. Kody turned toward, her eyes narrowed, fury slowly blooming across his face. "You said it wasn't a big issue," he said, low and cold, "that it was for all of us." But even Kody-loyal, blind, stubborn Kody could no longer defend what had become indefensible. Within 48 hours, headlines exploded. Robyn Brown, accused of embezzling family funds, hidden audio exposes financial betrayal. Our Plural Path exclusive. Sister wives scandal deepens. Janelle and Meri moved fast. A formal lawsuit was filed demanding a full forensic audit of the Brown family's community property from 2020 to 2024. The suit didn't hold back. Allegations of financial coercion, fraud, and even document forgery. Kody, shockingly, didn't block it. In fact, he issued a short statement through Our Plural Path. "We're working through internal family matters with legal guidance." Too little, far too late. The network paused future content. Robyn went silent. Insiders claimed she threatened to sue our Plural path for airing the private audio, but the damage was irreversible. The genie was out and there was no stuffing it back into the bottle. She sat alone now in the
frustrates me. I'm pretty much a loose cannon. I'm just a guy who just doesn't hold back.
the sprawling Flagstaff home she had insisted Kody purchase. Her name was the only one on the deed. It's the same house that once symbolized her triumph, now echoed with silence. The accounts were frozen. The producers were gone. The admiration wiped out. And then came the family meeting. It's the real one. Meri, Janelle, Christine, and their grown children gathered without Robyn. They called it a realignment. "We need to reclaim our power," Janelle said, steel in her voice. Meri nodded toward Savannah, Gabe, Mike Ulti, and Hunter. She used our silence to build her empire, Christine added. Our silence ends now. Meanwhile, Robyn sat scrolling through headlines on our Plural path, watching her image disintegrate in real time. She called Kody, no answer. She called her legal team, silence. No producers, no sympathy, no camera crew filming her tears. It's just her. Alone, surrounded by luxury items, now transformed into evidence. The empire she built out of fear, control, and calculated emotion had become her prison. Then came the day in court. Robyn arrived in all black, trembling, followed by a lawyer who looked visibly drained. The courtroom was full press bloggers, ex-Mormon community members, curious locals, and our Plural Path reporters. The judge opened a folder titled Brown vs. Brown CP Trust Audit. Janelle sat in a dark blue blazer. No makeup, pure resolve. Meri carried one folder, the original forged document. When Robyn looked at them, she saw no hatred, just determination. Kody, unexpectedly, was called as a witness. He looked nothing like his former self, hair slicked back tightly, eyes sunken. "Did you approve the transfer of over $820,000 to accounts under only Robyn Brown's name?" the judge asked. Kody paused, then shook his head. "No, I trusted her when she said she was streamlining things." That was the moment the courtroom shifted. Kody had stopped protecting her. Janelle testified next, calm, steady, surgical. She explained how Robyn slowly took over all financial processes. Made herself the single point of access and shut out everyone else. "She told me I was paranoid for questioning it," Janelle said. "But now we know she wasn't assisting. She was concealing." Then she turned toward Robyn and said, "You lied to Kody. You lied to us. You stole from our children." Christine's affidavit was the death blow. She wrote of Robyn bragging privately about how she'd outlast the other wives. "Don't deserve equal shares," Robyn once said, laughing. "They're unstable." That affidavit was the final crack in Robyn's mask. Not tears this time. Something worse. Stillness, panic. Her carefully spun narrative of victimhood was gone, shredded by timelines, signatures, and hard financial evidence. By day's end, the judge froze Robyn's private accounts, ordered a full audit.
Kody detailed meeting David Woolley, Christine's husband, for the first time.
And scheduled another hearing. Outside, our Plural path captured the moment Janelle and Meri exited the building. They didn't speak to the media. They didn't need to. Their silence roared. The audit, a thunderclap. 14 distinct financial transfers totaling over $823,410. 52 secret trusts holding properties Robyn never disclosed. One home in Sedona purchased outright with CP funds. TLC appearance fees redirected into a private LLC under the name Sullivan Holdings. Even college savings, once destined for all the Brown children, had been siphoned into private investments under the names of only Robyn's kids, Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna. The Brown Futures Fund was nearly empty. A betrayal so brutal, Savannah wept upon hearing it. "She took everything meant for all of us, she whispered, and left us with nothing. Meri filed for damages. Janelle signed on. Christine posted a video with our Plural path. This isn't revenge, it's reclamation. Robyn remained behind the very wall she used to build her control. Her name no longer sparked empathy, only fury. She tried to call the Our Plural Path newsroom. No one answered. The final court day was quiet. Robyn entered with no eyeliner, no mascara, no flair. She sat, hunched, broken. The judge delivered the ruling: liquidation of all family assets. $823,410, 52 in damages. Robyn permanently barred from any Brown family LLCs. Criminal referrals were forwarded to the state. Meri and Janelle walked out side by side. No smiles, just strength. Christine was waiting. They embraced tightly. We did it, Meri said. We took back our story. Robyn's Flagstaff mansion was sold. The proceeds went to the CP fund. Her name disappeared from public filings. No camera crews. No audience. Janelle and Meri quietly rebuilt a Utah vacation home. 40% of the family's streaming residuals. No champagne, just purpose. Now we define legacy, Janelle said to Meri, signing the final document. And Kody, last seen in a rented one-bedroom apartment, clutching a photo of the family. He whispered to no one, "What did I do?" Then turned the frame face down. As for the rest, they didn't just survive. They started over on our Plural path. That moment was just the beginning. The house Robyn once ruled from had gone silent-souled, stripped of its illusions and echoing with the kind of loneliness that money could never buy back. Robyn, now confined to a modest rental far outside Flagstaff, barely spoke. Her voice, once the centerpiece of pity and justification, now found no sympathetic ear. Her calls to lawyers were clipped. Her calls to Kody were unanswered. Her calls to our Plural path never returned. The channel that once praised her grace was now the only platform revealing the raw truth she'd hidden for years. And it wasn't done yet. While Robyn faded into obscurity, Janelle and Meri stepped fully into the roles they had once been denied. Their names, once relegated to supporting cast status behind Kody's ever-rotating favoritism, were now synonymous with resilience and justice. In an Arizona office tucked between a community bank and a family law firm, Janelle and Meri signed off on a redistribution of the reclaimed funds. Not just for us, Meri had said, but for every child who was forgotten while Robyn built her empire. Reinstating the Brown Futures Fund became their first priority. Each child, regardless of their mother, would now receive a new college grant overseen by a third-party fiduciary. Gabe, Savannah, Gwendolyn, even Leonel of them, had a stake again. The children who had watched their family fracture would now watch it rebuild, not under illusion, but under intention. Meanwhile, Kody unraveled. Without Robyn's scripted tears or the backdrop of his polygamist idealism, he became a man with no mission. For years, his face had adorned episodes filled with turmoil masquerading as unity. But now, with Robyn's betrayal made public and his complicity exposed, he retreated. Spotted only once by our Plural Path's local reporter at a secondhand bookstore in Prescott. Kody looked thinner, grayer, hunched. He purchased a used copy of The 5 Love Languages and walked out without a word. Rumors circulated that he attempted to reconcile with Janelle through a letter, but it was returned unopened. Meri, who had once stood by him through decades of neglect, refused to speak his name in public interviews. He'll let her build a kingdom on our backs. She told a private Q&A streamed on our Plural path, and we carried the burden while he watched. The legal repercussions didn't end with civil court. Arizona's Attorney General quietly opened a criminal case file. Not just against Robyn, but into Kody's potential passive involvement. Investigators reviewed signed tax documents, financial transactions made under emotional assurances, and the forged electronic signatures Robyn used to move community property. What they found went deeper than anyone expected. Shell companies tied to a network of accounts bearing Robyn's maiden name, Sullivan, had operated for years. Our Plural path obtained exclusive documentation showing that at least 2 properties, outside of Arizona, one in Utah, one in Idaho, had been purchased using these hidden funds. In both cases, neither Meri, Janelle, nor Christine had any knowledge of the transactions. The properties were held under the name Sullivan Home Care LLC. Shell registered just months after Robyn and Kody had convinced the family to consolidate their finances. Christine, who had long since moved on with her new life in Utah, flew in for a special Our Plural Path
Did that sound bad? Did that sound snarky in any way, sort of?
Clarify saying it wasn't snarky.
Path interview and was visibly shaken by the new revelations. "I thought we were past it," she said. But to learn that while I was packing boxes and telling my kids it would be okay, she was buying land in another state with our money. I can't describe that feeling. Her voice cracked, not from weakness, but from the enormity of what had been hidden. Christine's strength had always been in her truth. And now she had a platform that wouldn't edit her voice or dilute her story. Then came the children, the real consequences. For years, they had been the silent casualties in this plural war. Now they spoke. In a video panel streamed exclusively on our Plural path, 5 of the older Brown children shared their memories, their pain, and their outrage. Hunter recalled how he had offered to help with family finances only to be told to leave it to Robyn. Michael T. shared how her wedding had been nearly unfunded. While Robyn used the family pool to pay cash for a new SUV, she made us feel like we weren't her problem, Leon said. But we were part of this family too. She stole our legacy. The comments flooded in. Viewers, longtime fans, ex-polygamists, betrayed children of fractured families resonated with the sense of being erased, dismissed, and then made to apologize for noticing. And in the middle of it all stood our Plural path, no longer just a YouTube channel, but the sole journalistic lighthouse uncovering every layer of this storm. It was our Plural path that exposed the secondary trusts. Our Plural path that found the Idaho documents. Our Plural path that stayed at the Flagstaff courthouse when the mainstream outlets moved on. And because of that, Robyn's defenders began to vanish. One by one, fan pages shuttered. Her old lifestyle blog went offline. Her Cameo account disappeared. When someone posted her name in comment threads, the responses were swift. She stole. She lied. She's done. Kody never defended her publicly again. The final criminal hearing was closed to cameras, but our Plural path obtained court transcripts through legal channels. The judge was unsparing. "This was not simply a matter of mismanagement," she wrote in her summary. "This was intentional diversion of communal property with fabricated documentation and fraudulent justification. It exploited not only financial systems but familial trust." Robyn was ordered to pay restitution of $823,000 with interest, and Kody, though not criminally charged, was instructed to relinquish any claim to trust assets unless he could independently prove contribution. He didn't contest it. It's a Brown name, once the centerpiece of a national polygamy conversation, now stood as a cautionary tale. But not all legacy was lost. In the final segment of Reclaimed Life After Polygamy, the docuseries produced by Christine, Janelle, and Meri through our Plural Path studios, they stood shoulder to shoulder on the accused hill overlooking Flagstaff. No script, no glam squad. It's just them, wind in their hair, hope in their eyes. It's not about being wives anymore, Janelle said. It's about being women who took our power back. Christine smiled. And maybe showing our daughters and sons that silence isn't strength, that's just delay. Meri placed a hand on both of their backs. And now we speak. And Robyn, she was last seen by a grocery clerk in Page, Arizona. Sunglasses, head down, reusable bags in hand, no camera, no entourage. No Kody, just a woman, once queen of the kingdom, now living in the shadow of what she destroyed. trials, forfeitures, and public reckonings, the Brown name no longer inspired curiosity, it provoked debate. But in the ashes of scandal, something unfamiliar began to emerge. Possibility. For the first time, the ex-wives Meri, Janelle, and Christine stood not as survivors of polygamy, but as architects of something new. Their interviews on our Plural path went from viral exposes to weekly reflections on recovery, motherhood, financial independence, and the wounds that came from loving a man who no longer knew how to love them back. Their stories, once drowned in Kody's narcissistic spotlight and Robyn's carefully curated victimhood, now echoed with strength. They had been broken, yes, but they had also been remade. Janelle was the first to purchase land outright